Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Cleaning and Cocktails. You guys know what it's about. It's about having fun, having a cocktail or two. I got my boy Omar Miller here from the Bronx, New York. So you guys know I bring people like Omar on to share their stories, talk about the hustle and the grind, the ups, the downs, share their experiences, right? Because nothing is better than shared experiences, in my opinion. And that's why we bring people like him, industry experts, manufacturers, suppliers, you name it, anything related to the cleaning industry or just building services in general is welcome to the show, because we only get better when we talk and hear and listen from others like Omar Miller here. So Omar is from Bronx, New York. The company's called Advantage Cleaning. He's been in the business for 3 years, a little longer though, and I'll let him touch on that. But employee count, family in the business, I'm going to let him take that over. But without further ado, I've been friends with him for a minute, and I had the chance to meet him when he came to the Cleaning and Cocktails event. So Omar Miller, talk to me. How many employees do you have? What's the revenue look like? Is there family in the business? What is the story, buddy?
Absolutely. Rick, I just want to say first and foremost, I'm extremely grateful to be on the show, man. I'm an avid listener, dropped a ton of nuggets on me throughout the course of my growth and still till this day, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. So I guess that first question was, how many employees do I have?
Yeah. I never get deep into some of the, I call them the company stats, which I think is important because I want people to know, anybody who's on this show, like, we're all different. We're all at a different stage. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important piece because I feel like people can resonate with that when they hear you speak.
Absolutely. So I could tell you 3 years ago when I started, we couldn't keep an employee. It was juggling. It was doing most of the work myself, just because number one, I couldn't afford payroll. Number two, it just wasn't enough hours for somebody to actually stick around. So we didn't have the consistency like we do now. I would say last Friday we hit 40 employees.
I saw that. You posted that. Yeah.
Yes.
See, yes. Again, some of you guys will recognize if you start to follow Omar. He recognizes his teams and his accomplishments, man, which I think is something important for us to do.
Yeah. I mean, my team's incredible, man. They're great. We have great systems and processes. We've aligned ourselves extremely well with our core value system. And we've been able to carve out, I'm so proud of them because I'm proud of them and I'm proud of everyone along upper management as well for carving out sort of this project to develop our city, right? Because as we know, we all went through COVID and there were a lot of people who lost their jobs for whatever situations. And we were able to pretty much grab people who had some sort of background or who were trainable and teach them and provide opportunity. Because my goal, I was never like a 9-to-5 type of person, right? I always had a 1099, always. So I wouldn't have a check at the end of the week if I didn't really hustle, So I understand how it feels to have a low ceiling, So when I look at the people around me, I want them to know that I'm pretty much fighting as hard as I can to provide to them some sort of path to a career. You might start off as a tech, you might see midway through as an inspector, and then you might end up in operations because one of our biggest goals is retention, right? And that leads to the financial aspect of things too. We want to control our employee retention. We want to hire within. We want to create these opportunities for people and show them that we believe in them and that they're going to be able to scale and provide for their families just as we are.
Yeah. So Omar, actually, see what happens every time I have an agenda. I want to go down a certain path. Something comes up. Well, you just touched on something that I don't think I've ever really talked about on the show is retention, but retention to the point of, you said you're trying to carve out a path and a career for them, which a lot of people listening in or watching may say, that's hard. That's, cleaning technician is a cleaning technician. They look at it as a job. They come and go, right? But I got to argue, you want to shoot for low turnover, right? And then with low turnover means high retention. Is there anything that you can throw out there for them that you've done and you've seen results with, taking them from thinking it's a 20-hour-a-week job to it's a career?
Absolutely. So I like to identify with my technicians, my team, my family immediately that I am working my hardest to provide to follow through pretty much with what I've communicated with them, right? So how does that happen? That happens with accountability. What am I accountable for? I'm accountable for sales, marketing, and the growth of this company, right? Someone else might be accountable for training, and someone else might be accountable for inspections. But my accountability is the growth at this point, right? The faster we grow, the quicker I can move you up and move you into a different position based on your skill set. Because we're not the company that wants to have you around for 5 years and say, oh man, you're doing a great job. Now, we're the company, after 2 years, we want you to move into another position. If you're that good, create another you, and then keep moving forward in the company. So you see that we're trying to align our communication with exactly how your career is supposed to be going. So we've even carved out different positions. Training coordinator, which I touched on with you. Yeah. We got the ones that everyone's familiar with: field managers, area managers, operations. But doing the other jobs like inspecting, all those little things that go kind of account for core systems, right? Quality control. Yeah. You got to have these things in order for the whole machine to work properly. Yeah, man. And we've been able to do that, and it's been great, man. Like, people are stoked and
think about it, dude. We have the ability, and I was just talking about this with my brother too. Is we really can be as custom as we want, create roles that we want, right? Think about, like, tech companies have what? Chief happiness officer, chief people director, right? They make up titles, right? We can do the same. Like, if we want to carve out a role because that person is a people person but has great quality control and is a logistical genius, right? Like, come up with a role for that person if they have multiple skill sets. But to do this though, you need to win big contracts. You need to grow, like you said, because you cannot build a process or systems based on personnel and assign or appoint some of these people, because at the end of the day, they need money, right? They need to make a good wage. They need to make a good salary. They become your rock star or A-list players. So talking about that, like I told you guys when I started, I'm going to start this a little different, but I want to drill down on a Whopper deal that Omar was working on. And I say this because, a month ago, we're at the Cleaning and Cocktails event. Everybody's, there. We're awesome environment. And I'm watching Omar, and this guy's on the phone. He's popping up his laptop in the office. He pops it up over here in the chair. He goes out to take a phone call. And he's like, Rick, I'm sorry, man. I'm just, I'm working on something right now. And then I see in the conference room with Armando, I'm like, man, there's some serious shit going on here. What is this guy working on while we're at this event? And little did I know, because you let us all know, which you were working on, and you won a monster deal. Which, again, we don't have to get too deep into it, but I think explain that feeling for you. We're 3 years in, right? And because to me, I got to believe that kind of a six-figure size contract allows you to do what you just said you wanted to do. Put people in positions to help you grow your company. Not to get into specifics, but dude, let's drill down on, again, it was not rude, you guys, because this guy was hustling. I mean, I knew something was going on. What was going on, man? What had you moving and pacing and hustling and on the phone?
So first, I want to give a big shout out to Armando, man. He actually helped me tremendously, man. He's like, between him and Dominic and yourself, like, you guys have been a huge help. I was there for the convention. I was there to learn but the timing was just because this company wanted to move and transition into a new company, and they heard about our company and they really liked us. So we started communicating back and forth. And we closed that deal while I was in Chicago. That's a $35,000 a month contract. But while I closed that, I was also closing a $25,000 a month contract. So one signed one day, and then the next day another signed. So that was a big weekend, man. That was a huge weekend.
I know you got you don't got a beer.
So I got my coffee with me.
Cheers to you, because you guys. Let me take a swig. He said $35,000 a month, $25,000 a month. Now, I mean, talk about a great end to the year, which you're not done yet, right?
But not at all.
Talk about the feeling knowing that you're winning that, right? because again, people, they want to win 2,000 a month, 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month. What did it take as far as you having to work on that contract while having to be at this convention, right? Like, what was your mindset like when you were working that deal?
Well, my mindset's always get it done. Just get it done. So it's always, but at the same time, I'm a big fan of education, man. Like I always question my knowledge in the industry, right? And do I know enough? Am I able to help someone else achieve their goals? And if I can't answer that question properly, that means that, I'm not where I need to be. So your convention was a perfect place to nurture relationships, to meet new people, to listen to the vendors, to educate myself. And I would never stop that.
Yeah.
Obviously business keeps going and we all want the big contracts, but at the same time, I want to know what to do once you get them.
Yeah.
You want to be able to go in there and be a rock star. You don't want to go in there and drop the ball.
Yeah.
So I would say that the most important factor before anything else is educating yourself. Always have a mentor, always constantly educating. I keep 2 or 3 mentors that I talk to on a regular basis in our industry. I'm a big fan of the janitorial store.
Nice.
I'm always involved. Always listening to your podcast and other podcasts, anything that could add some sort of insight to the structure I'm building.
Yeah. So Omar, let's talk. So again, 35,000, 25,000. Omar, Advantage Cleaning, 3 years in, 40 employees. I don't know if 40 came before these contracts or whatever the case is there, but I just know from talking to a lot of people, man, is, that's a scary window at the same time, right? Because what 25, 35, what is it, 60,000, right? Like 50, 60, right away I'm thinking payroll, right? Like how much payroll is it? How many people do I have to hire? How much supplies do I have to buy?
Yeah.
And I mean, really, like, to be honest, like a lot of people will say no to that kind of a win because they may not be financially stable or ready to win that. I got a feeling you're like me where I'm a win it, figure it out after the fact, have some kind of, foundation set. But like, what was your mental state knowing that I have the opportunity and I've won 50,000+ a month? What was the first things that you started working on? Was it, I'm going to call my banker, I'm going to call my accountant, I'm going to call my human resources? Like, take us through that day or two, because I think it's important for people to know that, again, you guys, 3 years in, I don't know, 1 million, 2 million revenue business, Omar, or what are you at right now?
Prior to we were just cracking over about 1.2.
Think about that. You're 1.2, and this is going to be potentially 500,000 a year in business. That's almost half your revenue, and you didn't even bat an eye. What were the steps that you took to get to know that you can do this?
Listen, it's all about systems and processes, right? If I've learned anything from watching other people do it, such as yourself, and other people I feel like who've managed this industry and are successful, it's about having systems and processes, man. And I like to call it the triangle offense, man. I run the Phil Jackson. I like to it's about hiring, right? It's about having your training coordinator and your operations. So as long as I got those sequences of events and I'm already prepared, like I'm prepared beforehand. As soon as I got that phone call, I called my supplier, right? My supplier does the walkthrough with me. So we already got paper products. We already got chemicals lined up. We already got what machines we're bringing in, right? So we're educated on that. I have a list of over 500 potential employees that I'm already reaching out to because I conduct interviews either way, right?
Yeah,
so we manage our system.
You're not hiring.
Yeah, we're constantly hiring, man. Like I'll pull over in the middle of the road if I see someone cleaning in the store or and I'll go in there and drop some cards on them, spend some time with them. So we go into the hiring systems, right? And then we go into bringing people in and starting to train them. As long as we got those things going, the payroll aspect can be a little bit intimidating. But like you said, man, I'm cut from the cloth where it's very competitive. So I'm going to bite off more than I can chew and then figure it out, because I'm not going to let opportunities just pass me by. We're going to figure this thing out. Yeah.
That's what happens. Do you have a good banking relationship? Like, do you have credit's always a big thing and cash on hand and those things. But I feel like sometimes people forget to have those relationships set in place because of a moment like that. When you have a contract. I mean, I know banks don't, lend money based off of a contract, which again, things are changing. I think that's going to be coming up soon. That'll be a whole other topic. But like, was he or she one of your first phone calls as well, or your accountant?
That's a good question. So thank God, I went through the 10KSB program with Goldman Sachs, the 10,000 Small Business Program.
Oh yeah, we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, and one of those 9 modules, we were able to identify building a relationship with your financial lender, right? And one of the speakers, the panelists at Goldman Sachs, was from my bank. I was able to reach. I called. Actually, when you saw me go outside, that was the phone call I was making. So I left that one out, man. But he was like on speed dial. So I was like, this is what I need, and this is what's going on, just to give people out there a little bit of hope, man. Like I don't come from the best credit. I don't come from, my background's a little different. I had to scrap a little bit to get to where I'm at, so I wasn't taught financial literacy early on, so I didn't know that you have to have good credit going in to get all these things. So I had to basically identify my numbers and show them what I was doing monthly for them to believe in me in terms of lending me whatever I needed to handle payroll and equipment expenses and overhead and things like that, but I was successful at it. I was able to talk with the right people, and we were able to get something done, which helped out a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
so Omar, now let's take a step back leading up to this opportunity, right? Because again, 25K, 10K a month is a big contract, in my opinion, right? You win a 10K contract a month, that is the steps to now starting to build your business and have a footing, right? Was this a cold call, walk-in, referral, found you through the website? I want to give you kudos too. I know your website and social media, you're making a presence there, and I saw you in a commercial at some point. Like, when you talk about how did this come up? Like, because number one thing people always talk about is sales and lead gen and SEO and this and that. But how did these two real contracts, real scenarios come up on your radar?
Yeah. So I'm all over the place, man. I'm literally, like you said, the social media. I'm always posting on social media, like business posts, showing people what we're doing, being clear, transparent, because I really believe in our systems,
But you show, dude, I give you credit, man. People, again, if you follow Omar, which, I'll give you the social media tags after the show, you're always posting about your people. It's like, other than the one commercial shot of you in the, or getting interviewed on the news, it's always your people, man.
Yeah, all the time, man, because they're the engine to this. They operate this. I work for my employees, man. I work to carve out special relationships and get them to. I'm waiting for the day where I can watch them, go buy their own house or do the things that I would like to do. I just want everyone to be on the same page. It's like generating that feeling to everybody, right? I want everyone to feel a little bit of it, and be able to follow through with my promise. That being said, strong customer relations management, right? Like we spoke about this, because I think I was in every platform you were in, Clubhouse, Facebook, podcast, and that's the number one question. I hear people say, you got to get out there and ask your client what, there's so far you can go with you just going business to business, right? Because I've done it. I've done it to the point where people told me to stop coming, they politely, I started bringing them fruit, candy, like they were like, all right, Omar, look, we can't get out the contract right now, so just relax.
Just relax.
But and then I just started to figure out different methods where I can target more people at once. And that was pretty much through SEO and CRM, right? Because just like retention with employees, you want client retention as well. And you want to create some sort of revenue stream with them where I would target clients where I knew there was a forecast for a greater potential, right? So if I'm targeting a client who they might be under a different name, but they own this, and this, right? Hey, that brings me into what we call the tri-state area in New York, right? So if I start in New York City, if I do a good job here, they might call me for Jersey. They might call me for Connecticut. And that my plan is to ultimately branch out to different states, right? Much like yourself. So this was a strategic alignment of clients. So I strategically aligned myself with certain people who I knew can bring me a lot further faster, and these were the people, and it actually worked out that way, because as soon as I got one, we were in here, man, created a really strong system. Our core system was amazing in terms of communicating and quality control. And then I got the call, hey, do you want to take this and this in New Jersey? I said, no problem. Because all we're going to do is go there and implement the same system.
It doesn't, nothing ever makes anything easy, but though, again, that type of client, the multi-unit, multi-location client, man, that is how, in my opinion, you scale your business. Because those one-offs, it's a one-off. You really can't grow and expand, past that. So, all right, now that we're like middle of the show, right? Take us back before Omar got into the cleaning industry, or what led up to you deciding that this is the path you wanted to take. Take us back a little bit towards the journey of how Advantage really got started.
Yeah, definitely, man. I listened to your story, and it's very similar in terms of sales. Like, I was just a salesman. I would sell any and everything, but ultimately when I left college, I got into real estate. And I was selling high-end condos and rentals and things like that. So, it prepared me for relationships with property managers, which was great, which till this day I still have some ties to. And in 2008, when the mortgage crisis happened, I was literally sitting in that office like, what am I going to do?
Me and you both.
Yeah, like I was like, people are losing money. I don't even want to pick my phone up. Like, it was bad, man. Like, as you know. So after that, I got into door-to-door sales, man. And I was like, all right, let me just do this for the meantime, and ended up turning into a career for 4 years, because I didn't know that I was a door-to-door salesman. So I started knocking on these doors and got really, really good at it. So my company started sending me to different markets that were failing. So they sent me to Chicago, right? Which I sold Uverse in Chicago. And they sent me to Boston, and I would sell like Fios, and I would just lift these markets back up. We would train, sell, put management there. They would follow my system, and then once the numbers went up a little bit, we were able to leave. But door to door, I believe, was like the icing on the cake. Real estate was baking it. The icing was the door to door, because it was literally boot camp for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't knock on 100 doors a day, you weren't going to make the check that you needed to survive. And those 100 doors, you're going to get 3 to 4 sales.
Oh yeah, dude, it's what builds you up, man. It really does. I don't think I've ever talked about it, but my wife would kill me for bringing it up. But my first sales job was I was selling cologne, right? Like, you ever see the guys that would walk up to you in the gas station? They have a duffel bag, and it's Miyake, but it's not it's not in an Miyake bottle. That was me for almost a year, and and it's crazy because that was like, I think I was like 20 or 21, but it's crazy how they get you too, and it's like, hey, this person drives a Lexus, this person drives a Mercedes. Do you want that Mercedes or Lexus? And you're like, yeah, I want the Mercedes, I want the Lexus. And you're out there grinding, but it builds, it allows you to understand what no means. You don't want to hear no, because that next one could be a yes. So you just keep going. Keep going. It's like that. It's crazy, but that kind of mentality, it gets us to where we're at today, right? Like, you're able, and you attack, right? You keep going to get to that yes, because it's going to come. Yep. It's a matter of time.
It's all about having gratitude in between, man. Like, I always had gratitude, even during the bad times. Like, it's just about having that sort of gratitude. And I, like you said, man, after every no, you're just that much closer to yes. Like, and it was just a grind. it became competitive at a certain point. Where I was like, you know what? To the point where I was like, I'm going to get 3 or 4 within the first hour and then go home. Because you get tired of hearing no. So you develop this pitch that is impenetrable, you know? And then I found myself not only signing people up, but I was in their house eating dinner.
Eating dinner.
Drinking,
And flip the roles, right? And this is fucking side story here. But here in Chicago, when the storms come, I have what is it, like cedar shingle roofing right now, right? These freaking roof inspectors, the minute it pours and a storm comes, they are at your door. Hey, free inspection, right? This one kid though, dude, this was literally a year ago, or almost less than a year. I just hit it off with the guy. And then my wife's like, what do you, it's been 30 minutes. This guy knocked on the door. It's a door-to-door guy. I'm like, I know. I'm going to show him the garage. I'll be right back. I'm in the garage. 30 minutes later, I got this guy, we're, drinking a beer in the garage because we connected, talking shop. I didn't, he didn't get my business, but like it's that impression or that approach. You don't always have to sell. But I'll tell you what, look, I'm still talking about it today. 10 months later.
Exactly. He left an impression.
It's something that you've got to either learn it, earn it. I don't know, man. It sets you apart though, for sure.
Absolutely. And I think it's in us, like certain people have, it's just like you have to have a certain quality, man. And it's people buy from people they like and trust, and we carry these qualities into our business, right? Where it's commitment to client and, basically giving them our all. That's what we do.
Yep. All right. So Omar, you touched on it earlier. And again, I don't know how many people would know about this, but I know me and you will both recommend the shit out of it. But Goldman Sachs 10K, that's me. I think you asked me about that, right? Is that how you thought about it?
So I found out about it prior to that, but I know that I heard you speak about it in terms of the tech aspect, how it led you into the tech aspect with Route.
That Route came from the Goldman Sachs program.
So I just basically whatever I see people doing that I admire and respect in this industry, I try to follow suit, man. Why try to change the patterns, right? So I first tried to get in Goldman Sachs when I first started the business, and I didn't have any
a couple years. I
didn't have any reports to show them. Like I couldn't show them a tax sheet or anything like that, right? So finally, 2 years in, I was able to. You sent me the link. I called that person. They had someone call me. I already had a direct relationship with one of the people from Goldman Sachs, who's a recruiter, and I was able to get on and fill out and give them tax returns at this point. And I got in, and I was stoked, man. Like that program is amazing.
Talk about the program. I really don't get much time to talk about it either. So, I mean, it's not life changing, right? But for me, it was business changing. Like I had a different approach to the business before I had walked in. Like I thought I knew some things, but I mean, did you like the way they spread? I mean, were you in it during COVID or not COVID? Virtual or in person?
I was virtual, but I would say post-COVID.
Okay.
Post-COVID, so virtual, but same thing. We went through all 9 modules.
Okay.
And I would say it's life-changing because it's like the difference. Like if you're going down, there's a road and it splits, right? And you don't know where to go, and someone just nudges you, and now you're back on the right track. And that's kind of like what that program is. It gives you a nudge and allows you to open your eyes to certain platforms in business, right? Which I didn't know about either. Certain things you get on there and you're like, you want to ask everyone else, did you guys know this? Like, because I didn't know.
I feel dumb. I mean, my cohort was awesome. But it really does allow you to feel vulnerable too. Like, there's a lot. I still talk to a few of the people from my cohort, but it allows you to be vulnerable and like be open about the business. Oh man, I had a bad day today. My HR this, and our operations person did that. Like you don't get the chance to. That's why I'm a big advocate for peer groups. Is you feel lonely sometimes as the business owner, and you're always worried about what you say and who you say it to. In that environment, do you agree? Like you were able to really just be wide open, and get good feedback. right?
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. I put all cards on the table, man. Like I'm one of those people. I came in open because I feel like the only way for real growth is to throw your cards on the table, man. Like this is who I am. Either you're gonna play in the garbage or you're gonna take me for who I am and help me. And that's exactly what I did, man. And we were a close knit group. Our cohort 33. So I actually joined the alumni. So we
Yeah,
speak.
I was
Yeah,
just
we
talking
speak
to my
monthly.
alumni director too. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's awesome, bro. And like you said, everyone got pretty vulnerable. And it was good to see, like, it made me feel more confident seeing people 10, 15 years in who are still at this vulnerable stage. Yeah, still have problems. And it allowed me to open up a little bit more because I was scared to tell people I didn't know, like, how to manage a profit and loss or balance sheet or things like that, which are vital to our business, right? We have to understand our numbers and where things are coming in.
Dude, and you know what I would say about that too is during that session or that course of the period of the 6, 8, 9 weeks, I gained so much confidence, man, right? Because at first you think, oh, I'm a cleaning business owner, right? And my first couple of years, I always looked at it this way: is nobody wants to hear about my story. Nobody cares about. I own a cleaning company. In that group, I would talk about my hiring practices. I would talk about innovation. I would talk about the way I approach selling, the way I approach, building a team and a culture. And like, you would see like, holy shit, people, like, I'm doing something right here. Like, I didn't give myself credit enough to know, like, damn, like, running a cleaning company is a very big deal. You run, especially in the beginning when we wear all the hats, you are managing multiple different departments where people that start a business and walk into it or are given a business didn't have to do all that. It's a very different dynamic, man. And I got to say, like, I walked out of there and I was like, okay, like, growth plan, I got one.
Yeah.
Let me implement that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did the same, man. I implemented a 5-year forecast, right? Which I'm on a healthy pace for. And I was able to look at.
You win 225, 35 contracts.
Yeah.
I gotta believe you're in a healthy place.
Yeah, we're on pace, man. And actually, you're right, man. It was an extreme confidence booster because someone always, even my significant other, and she helps with this company, and she's great. She helps with the staff, and she pretty much wears all the hats as well, but anywhere between operations and training. And she always tells me, like, sometimes you got to sit back and give yourself a pat on the back, which I don't do. No. I'm always like, what's next? Yeah, what's next? What's next? So I'm always on that time, and not everyone is on that time. So even the Goldman Sachs course, even the the counselors they were like, Omar, you're doing a great job, man. Even at the end, when they were giving their speeches, they were able to say, when you get to this point, just don't forget us. And I'm just like, wow, sometimes I don't see what people see in me, like, but they could identify that, which is great.
Be humble, right?
Yeah.
That's always, that's a good attribute though, because then you're always going to be known as the guy that, he'll get right in there with us, and I feel that's the best leader is somebody that will roll up the sleeves.
That's it, man.
I feel like when you get to that point where you don't feel that way, you've lost your way as a leader. And that, it's just my opinion. I was in there cleaning the warehouse yesterday. It's just what I do and what I want to be a part of, right?
Me too. Yeah.
But all right, so dude, let's talk about the market of New York. And I bring this up because I fail to always talk about people's markets. Like, again, we're all cleaning business owners. A lot of us are in the cleaning industry that listen to this. We're entrepreneurs. We're so focused in growing and scaling and business. But sometimes you're susceptible to the market that you're in, right? Like, somebody in Boise, Idaho, or in Nebraska, or in Springfield, Illinois, is gonna have different opportunities, or there's gonna be a cap, I think, in some point where when you're in big metropolitan cities like a New York City, like Chicago, it's competitive, but there's a lot of opportunity. How have you I mean, is it a cleaning industry city, in your opinion? Like, do you see you have the potential to hit 5, 10, 15 million because of the opportunity that's there, even though there's competition? But talk about the New York market in general.
Yeah, so I can tell you this. That's a great question, and it can go either way depending upon who the person is.
Mm-hmm.
Because much like Chicago, we have the big dogs here too, right? The unionized guys, the non-union guys, but the guys who are big.
For sure.
5, 6, 7, 800 employees, right? And you got to have tough skin because it's a big city and it can go either way. I'm a strategist, right? When I entered this industry, the first time around, I actually lost everything just from lack of education. I didn't know how to price accounts or anything like that. So I was doing things and I didn't realize why these clients love me so much was because of the fact that I wasn't making a profit. I was cleaning for free. So it's like,
Love you, Omar.
A valuable lesson for me was losing everything and having 3 kids and couldn't afford to pay my rent. That was a valuable lesson for me. I had to drive Uber. And when I say strategist, where am I going to Uber? Like, let's say Chicago, you got Naperville, right? Mm-hmm. So you might have some execs out there, VPs. So I strategize my route with Uber route. So I strategized my route, man, and I went to a place called Greenwich, Connecticut every single morning. Like when I say New York's a tough market, it's tough for the person who's not gonna hustle, right? Because this is not a city that's gonna give you something for free at all, right? It's a city where you got to take it. So every morning I went to Greenwich, Connecticut, and I picked people up. And I made sure that they were going to the airport, right? Because for 40 minutes, you had to listen to me talk about cleaning and how my company was the best thing So 40 minutes, like everyone, and I would, get down to what they did for a living. And lo and behold, I met a lady and she was amazing. And she was like, look, when I get back from wherever I'm coming back from, which I think was Florida or Tennessee, she said, come to my office. I want you to talk to the operations manager. Let's see if we can get you the contract. I told myself, if I get this contract, I'm not driving this car anymore. I'm going to clean the account myself. As long as I can cover my rent, I'll be good. And her name is Catherine. And our first contract back was with Swell Bottle. And we were able to cover basic expenses. And I stopped Uber. I said, I'm going to implement whatever time I have left after cleaning or after my fiance finishes cleaning. We're going to go into buildings and market the hell out of our company. And that's exactly what we did, man. She gave me an opportunity back to life and I took it and ran with it. And I literally walked into every single building in New York City. Now, when you ask, like, there's a lot of opportunity, but who's going to get the opportunity, right? Because it's definitely not going to fall in your lap. New York City is one of these places where if you don't go take it, no one's going to give it to you. And I was literally going to take it. Like I snuck in the back of office buildings. I went to the front door. I remember coming down elevators and security was like, how the hell did you get in here? I just told you can't solicit in here, And it was just one of those things where I just wasn't going to take no for an answer. Like I convinced operations managers that they had meetings with me and they didn't even know who I was, And it was just one of those things, man. And they appreciated my effort at the end of the day. And I swear to God, I went in every single office building and every single retail store, anywhere that I had access to within a year span. They all knew me.
And, dude, I got goosebumps. Not gonna lie. We should have led with that story. We should have led with the Uber story because that is amazing, man. Like, and it just goes to show, like, you guys, I think you said 10 years ago, the industry, you came into the industry 10 years ago. Only as of 3 years ago did you start to see where you're at now, right? But that's the true testament to, grit, hustle. Like, dude, I got to tell you, being an Uber driver, I've had those conversations with that person on the other side. And I have employees today that are employees because I met them as they were driving an Uber. Because they took it upon themselves to make an impression that lasted, that made me shoot a text or a message, or they found me on LinkedIn. So, dude, like, that works, man. Like, it really, like, think about how you strategized. The word strategic, I don't care if this is not in the sense of strategic mergers and acquisition takeover. Like you strategized your route to be in front of the audience, which is the back seat of the people that you knew if you got one of them, that could make a difference, and it did, man. So hey, kudos to you, bro.
Thank you.
That's a great 1 or 2 minute grab right there that I'll be sending out. Thank you for that.
So we came back after that, and I took my door-to-door skills, applied it to this business, everything I knew from real estate, everything I knew from business, and kept my ear to the ground. And still to this day, man, I keep my ear to the ground, and I listen and I learn and I pay attention. And those are the qualities that allow me to keep going, along with aggressive marketing, aligning myself. They say, like, we're trying to get the gatekeeper, right? I call it the quarterback, man. I'm LT. I'm on you. I'm like, I'm chasing you down. Like, you're gonna give me a shot, and it's not it's not too aggressive with them, but it's in a way where you just know that I want an opportunity. And if you give me an opportunity, I'm going to show you why you made a good decision. And a lot of times, if you can get put in a position and allow that person to look good, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they made the decision to hire you or get rid of a certain company or vendor, and they put you in hoping you can mitigate some of these concerns, and you go in there and knock it out the park, and it's a win all around the board. So at that point, it's almost like, how can we get these guys into every single account?
Yeah. Because as we're coming to an end too, is everything you say or you speak or everything that oozes out of you is grit, hustle, right? When people want the whole secret sauce and what's my way to a 6-figure company or 7 or 8-figure company, there is no formula to the secret sauce of hustle and grit, right? Like, if you could you create a playbook on the way you hustled and got your way into these buildings or got your way in front of these people? There is no content strategy, campaign, this, that. Like, at the
doesn't
end of the day,
exist, man.
I mean, you just got to have it in you to want to, to
Doesn't
get there,
exist.
right?
You have to really go out there, take any and everything, and let the cards fall into place. Like, you eventually, once you get to a certain point, you'll realize what your niche is. Yeah, but in the beginning, everything was my niche. If you asked me to clean the sidewalk, I'm going to clean the gum off the sidewalk. Like, that's how bad I wanted into this industry. So I clean windows. I've cleaned kitchens, by myself, like literally kitchens that like 2 days in, the owner was like, you know what? We're just going to buy a new one. I don't think it's even
in there, man. That is my worst story, is not getting paid for a freaking kitchen that me and my wife cleaned, where it was like, are you really not going to pay us for this job? Like, do you know what we just went through? Oh my God. But all right, we're wrapping it up here, Omar. What does 2022 have in store for you, for Advantage? The vision. I know we talked about a 5-year forecast, but hey, let's just talk about 2022, right? What's actionable for you that you want to do for 2022?
So 2022 is going to be amazing. We've already kicked off. We're basically aligned with the forecast I had in mind, and that my upper management understands. We've all have these meetings. We have quarterly meetings, but we have weekly meetings to make sure that we're accountable for the goals that we have, and we're aligned, man. Like, we've recently implemented a maintenance program. So now we have a maintenance program going on, which just trying to remain sticky. As
single source solution. Single source solution.
Yes, man. So we're rolling out some new things for our clients. We're branching off into different states, which I'm psyched about, man. So we got a lot of things going, and the gross, our numbers we're already looking to hit, But as far as implementing new services, carving out new jobs, and being efficient and effective in the urban development and the just carving out new positions and jobs for people in New York City, is what we continue to do. Economic development, man. We're creating new jobs and making it happen.
I talk about it all the time. We are we're a blue collar industry. We are the foundation of economic development, man. If you think about it, like we're what America is built on. Is our industry, others as well, right? Just the service industry in general. This is what America will grow as we grow. So,
Absolutely.
Any last words, my man, that you want to leave to, because you know the audience, right?
Yeah, I know the audience well, man.
Audience, bigger size companies, suppliers. Like, what do you want to leave? Any words of wisdom to the industry itself?
Yeah, I would say for the person like myself, just coming in, who's like, really hungry and just trying to figure out how other people are doing this, because you're like, how are they doing this? I would say just don't give up. Keep going, keep educating yourself, which is the most important part. Keep nurturing relationships and putting yourself out in front of new people. Take all the advice you can, join the different groups, meet new clients, for whatever it is that you could do to put yourself out there, to let people know that you run a company and that you're willing to help them out. Let them know, however you can get out there.
Nice, man. Well, thank you, Omar. I appreciate you, my man. You guys, I will be putting Omar's company, the Facebook, his LinkedIn, any in which way possible to get a hold of him. If you're cool with that, Omar, people,
yeah, absolutely.
See your information. Reach out if you have a similar story. If you feel like you resonated with Omar, feel free to reach out to him. Or if you're cleaning companies within the tri-state area, right? Again, what do we talk about? Being stronger together, guys. We are the individuals that you want to work with and talk with and team up with, because again, it's a lonely space. So, Omar, awesome to have you on, my man.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
This is Cleaning and Cocktails, another episode. We are done.